Join me as I dive into a wild scenario and see if I can imagine what it would be like if Scar ruled the Pride Lands forever. Imagine a world where the rightful king, Mufasa, never existed, or rather, was extinguished from the very beginning. A world where Scar, the cunning and manipulative uncle, seized the throne and ruled with an iron paw. The Pride Lands, once a symbol of prosperity, freedom, and unity, would be transformed into a dark, oppressive, and feared realm. The mere thought of it sends shivers down my spine. The challenges the Pride Lands would face under Scar's rule would be catastrophic. The delicate balance of nature would be disrupted, and the animal kingdom would be thrown into chaos. The antelopes, wildebeests, and other prey would live in constant fear of Scar's wrath, and the predators would be forced to adapt to a new order. The once lush savanna would slowly wither away, and the skies would darken with the smoke of Scar's tyranny. Scar's rule would be marked by brutal suppression, where any form of dissent or opposition would be met with swift and merciless punishment. The hyenas, his loyal minions, would be the enforcers of his twisted will, and the very mention of Simba's name would be treasonous. The animals would be forced to live in a state of perpetual silence, lest they suffer the consequences of speaking out against the tyrant. As Scar's grip on the Pride Lands tightened, the animals would grow more desperate, their voices silenced, their hopes extinguished. The circle of life would be broken, and the very fabric of their society would unravel. It would be a never-ending nightmare, where the light of freedom and justice would be but a distant memory. In this bleak world, the theme of tyranny would reign supreme. Fear would be the currency that Scar would use to control and manipulate the animals. Power dynamics would be perverted, and the strong would prey on the weak. The once noble lions would be reduced to mere pawns in Scar's game of power and control. Simba, the rightful king, would be forced to live in exile, his spirit crushed, his heart heavy with the weight of his father's legacy. Nala, the brave and loyal lioness, would be forced to live in the shadows, her courage and determination slowly draining away. The other characters, like Rafiki, Zazu, and Sarabi, would be forced to live in hiding, their voices silenced, their actions marginalized. The animals would be forced to adapt to Scar's twisted rules, living in a state of constant surveillance where one misstep would mean certain death. It would be a world without laughter, without joy, without hope. The very essence of the Pride Lands would be extinguished, leaving behind a desolate wasteland. But there would come a point where the Pride Lands would reach a breaking point. The animals, tired of living in fear, would rise up against Scar's oppressive rule. They would gather their strength, their courage, and their determination, and they would fight back against the tyrant. It would be a desperate, last-ditch effort to reclaim their freedom, their home, and their future. The breaking point would be marked by chaos and destruction. The animals would engage in a fierce battle against Scar's forces, with the very survival of the Pride Lands hanging in the balance. It would be a moment of truth, where the animals would decide whether to continue living in fear or to fight for their freedom. In this world, the consequences of Scar's rule would be devastating. The Pride Lands would be left scarred, the animals would be left traumatized, and the very fabric of their society would be left in tatters. So, what do you think, guys? If Scar ruled the Pride Lands forever, what would be the consequences? Would the animals be able to rise up against him, or would they be trapped in a never-ending cycle of fear and oppression? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to explore more what-if scenarios, be sure to check out another video on my channel, where I dive into even more mind-blowing possibilities.